this was a kind of tower-like structure or a cantilever experiment for Blackpool, where the head of the local regeneration, Ron Haslam, fantastic guy, said to me on the very first meeting that in its heyday, Blackpool was the site of hedonism, and in fact represented Britain's answer to Vegas, not only for the gambling and so on, but the fact that if you wanted to lose your virginity, that's where you went. That was the go-to place. So nowadays on the right, not much going on, and the regeneration was an idea to do the staycation. So instead of taking a flight to Spain, you would stay in the UK and enjoy Britain's own beaches. Our beach location on the Golden Mile meant that the building would address the Atlantic, or the Irish Sea and the Atlantic on one hand, and then the city's answer to Eiffel in the form of the tower. So Blackpool Tower was the focus for this building, as well as the horizon and the sea, and also the programme of marriage, because it's a registry office. The idea of the 64% of men losing their virginity in Blackpool was counterpointed by the idea that you could get wed there. And it does two types of wedding. You can have the quickie, or you can have the one where your family come as well. So you can see in section that the CLT profiles are varying in thickness according to the spans that they're doing, particularly in the restaurant, which is a series of hoops between which are thinner panels. Great economies can be made actually on stacking CLT buildings just with the thinner profiles higher up. But on this tower with its outward leaning cantilever and also cantilever on top, horizontal cantilever on top of the vertical one, the sections are relatively big. These were built very quickly by, again, a contractor who had never used CLT before, was wary, but nevertheless brave enough not to on-cost it too much at the point of tender. And as a process, for them it was transformative, and they've worked in the material ever since. The tower incidentally leans backwards in order to counterbalance the 6-meter cantilever of the wedding room. So it's not just visual, but a structural device, and the fact that it has to behave like a kind of periscope or camera in its viewpoint. So on the one hand, the stairwell tower is the counterweight, and it looks like a very solid construction because it's clad. It's a marine environment, you have to clad CLT. This is, I think, an unanswered question that is another one for the forestry industry and manufacturers of all kinds of buildings. What's the perfect cladding to put on CLT? It doesn't exist yet, to my knowledge. In this case, we devised a variation on concrete block. So concrete block divided vertically 3 times, and then horizontally once, so that we had this Roman brick slip type material with the inclusion of wood waste and glass waste from all the beer and wine bottles seen on the pavement in Blackpool on Sunday mornings. So this building had that local characteristic built into it. These are stainless steel shingles. And I think it's worth noting that it's powerful, not because it's big or particularly sophisticated in terms of form. It's powerful because of what isn't there. I think that people are moved by it because they don't see any lay-in ceilings. They don't see any, if you like, paint, or plasterboard, ducts, grills. It's not a minimalistic approach. It's just celebrating this idea of the structure which can be finish and can be a warm and strong and satisfying material in its own right, not one to cover up.